Welcome to another video right here on FE Builds. We've got something special, something awesome, and it is not any Fusion Pro, but it's the Fusion 8. It's the big boy. And we're going to be installing it in the F150 Raptor by Traction Hobby. We did an install before, and we put the Fusion Pro 2300 kV, 60 amp, I believe. Maybe I'll just pause this video quickly, get the box and come back, and we can confirm from the box. Okay, so I'm back and I've got a box here for Fusion Pro. It's got another motor inside, an ESC, so it's a bit jam-packed, but you can see 60 amp, 2300 kV. This big boy is 80 amp, 2300 kV. I believe this is 2 and 3S capable. This is 2 to 4S capable. So we're going to do an unboxing of this quickly, and then we're going to install it in the F150, the silver one that you've seen on this channel. And yes, I've got my gloves. Some people have commented on this specific video concerning the gloves, but I actually love to wear them because these are hard race gloves, and they were given to me as a gift when I purchased one of their products. So I love to wear them when I'm doing this kind of video. But let's just quickly open this and we'll take it from there. It's a bit windy over here, and I'm working from my kitchen table because I can't find a table big enough to actually set this car and do this whole install comfortably. Okay, so we've got the nice protective cover off. Special thank you to our friends in George at RC633 for sending us this. We purchased it through them. They made this possible, and there we go. There is the Fusion 8. Let's quickly pull it out of the box. In the box you get the sticker for the switch, the double-sided tape for the switch. You get 2 cable ties, not 1. In the Fusion Pro you usually get 1 cable tie, you get 2. And you get this wire for programming or extending the signal cable. But let's just pull these through. It comes stock standard with the XT60, which is good, very nice. I noticed a slight difference on the switch. I believe there's a difference. I'll just quickly pause and check. Okay, we're back. Yes, that's affirmative. I noticed a difference immediately on the switch. On the Fusion Pros, the switch has a black font. It's not so much of a major difference, but yeah. This has two wires that connect to the receiver. Here's the ESC control, and I believe this one's for drag brake. So you can adjust drag brake on the fly, which is very good in this car specifically. I am going to take out the Fusion Pro. Another difference is the Fusion 8 has the 5mm shaft, so it's going to work with the stock pinion that came with this car, even though we found a pinion that works with the Fusion Pro. And you'll see we're going to do some tests before we install this and also after. But I'll go ahead and install this first and then play the before and after so that you can see the difference between the two and the amount of power. These wires are a bit thicker also. You can see, I don't know if I can pull the wire here, but the wire from a standard Fusion Pro, I'll just turn the camera slightly over there. You can see the wire from a standard Fusion Pro is not as thick as the wire on the Fusion 8. So this can carry more current. Makes sense that they make it for up to 4S. So let's get with this install. We're going to do the install quickly, and let's see how it goes. I'm going to time-lapse the install just so that we don't waste any time, and this video is straight to the point. So without any further delay, let us begin. Okay, so I've got my caliper. Let's just measure how long this is. 69 millimeters, and the width, let's measure it this way so that we can actually gauge how fat that is. That's 42 mil. So we're going to put this in. When I made the first video, I said putting a Fusion Pro in this car is like putting a small engine and putting turbos on it, like what they're doing with the vehicles they're selling nowadays. they're reducing in size and putting more turbos on. So where you would get a V8, you now get a 4-cylinder twin turbo or turbo diesel single turbo. We're gonna now put the V8 in, and let's see how that V8 performs compared to the 4-cylinder twin turbo. Okay, so I'm back, I'm working at night, and you just saw the time lapse of me taking out the Fusion Pro 2300 kV 540 spec. That's this one over here. And you might have seen me with the old motor, and there was a flash of light next to it, and that was a lighter. I was heating up the grub screw to release that Loctite. Makes it easier to take it off. Very easy. I mean, really makes a difference. So I did that. I quickly, before I put the new one in, I just want to compare the two. So both of them are 2300 kV. This one has a bit more of orange back to it. That's the difference in size. You can see at the front. FOC technology, 540 spec. This is the Fusion 8. And that's the Fusion Pro, as you can see. So we're not going to be using that pinion. We're going to be using the original pinion that came with it. So that is this one over here. And as you can see, fits on perfectly. There's no play, nothing. It just fits on perfectly. It's very good. So what I want to do first is actually get this motor to sit on the plate. And because there's this piece over here, can't really orient the wires going up, otherwise they're going to hit on that. So it has to be sort of sideways, like that. You'll get the quick run Fusion, the specs of the motor facing up and the wires going sideways. Okay, so let's do this. Okay, so we're going to just screw that in. I think that's a 2 mil or 1.5. One of the two. I think it's a 2 mil. Might be 2.5. Yeah. Working quite late, so Make sure those two screws are nice and tight. Sorry, that's my other phone going off. It just goes crazy the whole day. Okay, now that that's on, we're gonna have to put this in place, and then we'll put the pinion on. Because it might be quite tight to get it in when it's there. Okay, we're quickly gonna go back into high speed mode. I've put this motor in. I'm gonna tighten that screw once I get it aligned nicely. You can actually tighten it now. The grub screw for the pinion. I don't like using Loctite on these things. I've had some bad experiences in the past. Some may say that's a very bad idea, don't do that, use Loctite. But personally, it's better just like this for me personally. That's just my own opinion, and I go by it and it works for me. And I do maintenance regularly on my RCs, so let's just put these in place. Okay, I plugged the drag brake line into channel 6. Now, we don't know what's been programmed to channel 6. When I was playing around with the car earlier, I noticed that channel 7 or channel 8 was turning on and off the stability control, or the what's it called on FlySky, they call it the SVC, but basically the gyro was turning it either to fully 100% or fully off, and that's not ideal. So we want to just log into this before we do any programming or anything else. Let's just see what the settings are for this particular model. Model menu. Okay, we don't deal with cruise control. We'll leave the steering and the throttle curve like that for now. Gyro mix. Okay, so we're going to set the gyro to channel 5, reducing it and increasing it. And I'm going to make sure channel 6 is open so that we can use that for drag brake. Okay, that's fine. You can program in the winch, but we've used a different kind of winch. It's got a remote, and we're going to use that rather to control it. I love this program mix where you can actually get it to do something. If you've got lights or indicators, you can get it to work with this, but we're not going to touch that for now. We just want to see if there's anything programmed to channel 6. Let's just rename the model. Okay, that's set. Let's just see if there's anything else. Needs to be set. No. Okay, we'll do the calibration at a later stage. Okay, so what we're going to do now is program the RC, but before we can do that, we just need to see, and before we neaten up all these wires, we just need to see what's the story. Which direction is it spinning in? The fan is still working. The motor seems to be working. I'm gently just going to put some throttle. Forward or backward. Okay, that's a good thing to know. The motor is moving in the right direction. Now we can get on to programming. So I'm just going to pause this and we'll get into programming. I'm going to try and use this screen and see if it works. Usually on the previous Fusion Pros, only this worked. So let's see if this one's going to work. Okay, we power it off. By the way, drag brake, channel 6 is not programmed to anything. I just checked in the remote. In this specific car, I might have changed it at some stage, but we've set the gyro adjustment to channel 5 and channel 6 is open. So channel 6 is that button right there, which is good. Channel 6 is open. Okay, so the moment of truth, is this gonna work? Okay, it seems like this programming card is not going to work. Let's just switch it off. Let's go back to the good old-fashioned programming card. Now I'm going to have to pull the paper because there's no sticker that comes with it. I have to pull the paper here and just see what we're doing. I believe the settings are very similar. Okay, so let's turn this on. Number 1 is the running mode. Set to RPM matching, we like that. Number 2 is the LiPo cells. This can take 2 to 4S 2, 2S, 3S, 4S. So we're setting it to auto, depending on what we want to use. That's perfect. Number 3 is the cutoff voltage. We're setting it to medium. Option 3 comes as default. Option 4 is the thermal shutoff, and we're setting it to the lower value, 105 degrees. That's fine. Option 5 is the motor rotation. It's rotating in the right direction. Option 6, BEC voltage. We're going to leave it at 6 volts because that seemed to work before. Option 7, the drag brake force. It's currently set to level 5, but we'll see if our button's actually working. Option 8, drag brake rate, auto. Okay, that's fine, we'll leave it there. Option 9, max reverse force. I always set this down to 25%. It's just my personal preference. Option 10, max brake force. We'll leave that as is. Option 11, RPM decrease rate. It's set on level 1. That's fine. Option 12, punch is set on level 5. We'll leave it there. It's medium. It's fine. And option 13 is the neutral range. We'll leave it there. Okay, so it's all programmed, ready to go, and that's the settings I'm going to use. Now let's test this variable drag brake. Okay, that's connected. Fan's working. Steering is working. Currently the drag brake seems to be off completely. I'm going to turn on channel 6. Drag brake is on. It's really, really hard. Okay. As we reduce it, it's still really hard. Reduce it some more. Now switch it off completely. Drag brake is off completely. So channel 6 is essentially controlling the drag brake. Let's put the drag brake on full. So you can't really move it around. Set the drag brake down to nothing. There we go. Awesome. So it seems to be working. It's in high gear, but we were having some problems earlier with the gear changing servo. I think it's not set correctly on the servo savers, so we're going to take off this battery thing, and I'm going to do that off camera, and I'm just going to set that right so we can go into high and low range very easily. It's going to take a bit of time because there's troubleshooting, so I'm not going to include that in this video, but when we come back we'll be doing tests, and we'll have all these wires neatened up nicely, and the tests are going to be where we start with the Fusion Pro, go through everything we look at with the Fusion motors, and then we're going to go to the Fusion 8, go through everything we look at with the motors, and we see how it works. So yeah, we're going to try it on 2S all the way up to 3S. I don't think I have a 4S battery, so I might borrow one from a friend just to try and test, but let's see. So yeah, I'll pause this video and we'll be back when it comes to testing. Okay, first test, Fusion Pro 540 spec, 2300 kV, 60 amp, 4-wheel drive open diff. So this is low gear, how slow can it crawl. That's the slowest it's going, and it's currently in 4-wheel drive. Okay, we're going to try and do a speed run in low gear. It's currently in rear wheel drive. Okay, so it's engaged, rear wheel drive, and just aim it forward. And that's rear wheel drive. Front wheel drive, low range. So let's go do a climb test quickly in low range, 4-wheel drive. I'm going to lock the dips, and then we're going to go to changing the motor over. Okay, this is 4-wheel drive, open diffs, low range with the Fusion Pro 540 spec, 2300 kV, 60 amp. We can see how slowly we can crawl with this, and it's not cogging. Literally just it's not cogging or chugging or whatever you would like to call it. This is the Fusion Pro 540 spec. After this we're going to put in the Fusion 8 and we're going to test it. So that's how slow we can make it go, but I want it to go to the steep section because it's still an open diff. Let's see this thing climb. And I'm going very slow. I can even try and go slower. My aim is to see if there's any cogging. If you look very carefully, just scare that insect away. The tire is moving up quite a steep hill. If I move back, you can actually see what it's climbing. So it's carrying the full weight of that body. It's climbing a slide, and it's going that slow. Let's go a bit faster. Let's pick up the pace. I'm going to try and stop on the hill, see if drag brake is working. Remember, this is the 540 spec. We're going to put the Fusion 8 in next. Let's try crawling away from here slowly. Okay, I'm applying accelerator. There we go. Starting to move. And the aim in this test is to go as slow as possible. See if it'll start cogging. Because then we know the motor's under too much strain. I know with the Fusion Pro specifically, if the car is too heavy for it, it starts sort of cogging. So over here we see a slight bit of cogging, but I don't know if you can make it out on camera. But it's still not so much of a problem. Let's do the rest of this climb. And it's climbing open diff, so those tires are quite nice, the stock tires that come with this car. See how steep that is. Okay, I'm going to reverse down slowly. Once again, we've got this in RPM matching mode, full FOC enabled. Let's reverse down and let's try this in high gear. Okay, so this is the Fusion Pro 540 spec, 2300 kV, 60 amps, high gear climb. Try and see how slow we can go and if it cogs. You can see the tire stuttering there slightly. Sort of like jerking. So the Fusion Pro 540 is a bit too small to climb in high gear, and obviously even in a normal car you wouldn't climb in a very steep climb in high gear, but I'm just doing this test to see. See, the drag brake is not holding. The drag brake is not holding in high gear. As you can see, it caught on the 5th try. Okay, great. So we've done all the tests over here. The last test I want to do with the Fusion Pro 540 spec is the top speed. So I'm quickly going to go get a GPS and pop it in the back of the load basin or load bay, and let's see how fast this car goes. This is with the Fusion Pro 540, and I'm running this on 2S. All these tests are done on 2S. So let's go. 3, 2, 1. Let's run it again, just to make sure it's at the highest. This is in high gear. Unfortunately, that was rear wheel drive. Let's try it again in 4-wheel drive. Opened it. See if we can get the highest speed possible. Okay, and that should be fair enough. Let's take the phone off and go straight there so that you see that I'm not cheating you. The maximum speed it got, the peak was 17 kilometers per hour, and that's high range, 4-wheel drive, rear wheel drive, both tested, got the max, whichever one goes faster. And this is with the 540 spec Fusion Pro. Okay, so the max that a Fusion Pro 540 spec 2300 kV can go to in terms of battery size is 3S. So there's some people who will say you didn't speed test it on 3S. I think the Fusion 8 can go to 4S. So that's the one difference over there. So we're going to do a quick speed test. That's max speed. Let's bring it back. Do a few runs. It is in 4-wheel drive. A few runs. Very difficult to control it at the same time and record. Let's just see what's the max speed that we got. Okay, on 3S, the max speed is 23 kilometers per hour. That's kilometers, not miles. and that's the 540 spec Fusion Pro 2300 kV 60 amps, I believe. So yeah, that's the top speed. Let's try this in rear wheel drive just to see if it'll go a bit faster. Let's switch it over to rear wheel drive. Let's go. Just do a test quickly to see. Trying to avoid the water. Max speed. Okay, and let's see what the top speed is. Okay, it's still 23 kilometers per hour, max speed. Okay, that's the Fusion Pro. All the tests are done. Okay, so this is the Hobbywing Fusion 8 on 2S battery in 4-wheel drive, all open diff. High speed. Now we're going to put a GPS in. Okay, so Fusion 8, Hobbywing, 2S LiPo, top speed, 4-wheel drive, open diff. Okay, that's 2S. We're getting 22 kilometers per hour. I'm gonna put it into rear wheel drive. That's the peak speed that it's recording, so let's see which one will be faster. It's in rear wheel drive at the moment. Okay, we're going to flip it into front wheel drive now. Top speed in front wheel drive. Okay, and as you can see over there, the peak speed that we're getting is 22 kilometers per hour, and that's 2S in front wheel drive, rear wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, open diff, high gear. Okay, it's in high gear. This is 3S. I don't have a 4S battery, but this is the Fusion 8. 3, 2, 1. Now we're going to try it in rear wheel drive. It's uncontrollable in rear wheel drive. There's just too much power. Okay, so that is rear wheel drive. Now let's try front wheel drive. Okay, and that's the conclusion to the tests. Let's see what the top speed is. Okay, so the top speed in 3S is 30 kilometers per hour with the Fusion 8. So that's 7 kilometers per hour faster. If you put a 4S, then it's going to be even much faster and much more snappy. But that's quite nice. It's actually beating the Hobbywing XR8. Yes, my remote is flat. Now we back here at the slide with the Fusion 8 in it, and we're using 2S as we did yesterday with the Fusion Pro. So let's go. We're going to try and go as slow as we can. You can literally see it moving very slow, very slow. Slow it can climb. Let's go up a bit more. Standing quite flat. The wind is very bad. Slow again. It's slower than that. Moving right now. It doesn't look like it's actually moving. It doesn't look like it. But you can set it on the go. So that's that yellow wire that we connected in channel 6. Okay, so it's in high gear now, Fusion 8. Let's see how slow we can go in high gear on this climb without it cogging. set at a high enough value. Let me just set that up. Be right back. Okay, so drag brake is at maximum and it's not holding in high gear. That's how slow you can go. You can go slower. You can see it's cogging very, very little. Not as much as the Fusion Pro. Okay, so that's a wrap for this video. That was the Fusion Pro 540 spec 60 amp 2300 kV versus the Fusion 8 80 amp 2300 kV. And conclusion to this video, both of them work very well in the F150 by Traction Hobby. If you're more on the crawling side and you don't need any speed at all, then you can go for the Fusion Pro 540 spec. It will fit. And it works well. It doesn't overheat. It does the job in this specific car. But if you want to crawl with this car, do some trails where you have that FOC technology, but you also want some speed at the same time, then the Fusion 8 is a really good option, and there's not too much difference in the price. But that's a wrap for this video. Like, share, subscribe. Until next time, cheers.